Forbes India presents M-Connect, powered by Marmo Solutions.
Welcome to M-Connect, celebrating architectural excellence and innovation. In this series, we bring you insights from well-known architects who are building for the future. Today, we will discuss the theme Spaces That Changed You, to uncover the moments where design and emotion intersected, where architecture held the power to reshape perspectives and disrupt expectations. Join me in welcoming our remarkable panel, Sanjeev Goel, the principal architect at Conarch Architects. He's from Delhi and is known for his innovation in building construction detailing and interpreting a project's complexity as a creative force in crafting spaces. We also have Chetan Ahluwalia, the principal architect at Architects File. He's from Chandigarh and is well known in transforming ideas into iconic spaces, including luxurious homes, high-rise residential projects, commercial spaces, schools, hospitals, and institutes. And lastly, we have Vineet Malik. He's the founder and principal of DC Projects. Vineet is from Delhi and has delivered numerous high-end residential and commercial projects across Delhi NCR. A big welcome to all of you on the show.
Hi.
First up, I want to know which are your most iconic spaces that you have built. Sanjeev, we'll begin with you.
This starts from during the COVID time, when I was not having any computers, any laptop with me, and I have to take the help of my graph paper at home. And to utilize that time, I started with the pencil drafting with a scale. And let me tell you, this is one of the best building of my career that has come for so far. The building elevation, the building materials, the spaces that I have created, it is superb. It is an office building in Meerut, and it is a very, the building has come out of its own from the ground. That is the feel of the building.
It sounds spectacular. Chetan, tell me something that you have built, which is iconic.
Yeah, this was a school in Punjab, Moga to be very specific. So basically, it was a school which was being built in a small town called Zirakpur, that's in Moga district. So initially it was an experiment whether it will work or not. So we were a little skeptical. But anyways, the client, he wanted the structure to be done in one go. So it was basically 1.5 lakh square feet of space, had 3 stories and amphitheater, and it's an excellent project. Plus it housed spaces for the staff, and now we are building a hostel for the children. So at present it is housing almost around 1500 students. So it was a great project that we did.
Right. Vineet, what about you?
I would rather say most of my projects are iconic, but I would agree with Mr. Sanjeev that during COVID, there was this project when we started, that was especially in Latin zone, where the restrictions are quite high. And that was one of the most challenging projects which we did because the timelines also, considering it was COVID and the movement of skilled laborers during those times were quite a challenge to itself. Coming out of that building during COVID times and also the client being happy about it was a wonderful feat for me.
Being happy, like having happy clients, I think is one of the things that we have to.
I think for a house and for a residence, if a client is happy, that's actually it's commendable in itself.
Right. Sanjeev, tell me, have you worked on any space, any project that changed your perspective about life?
Yes, very recently. You know, whenever we start a project, we have some guidelines. Let it be the size of the plot, or the budget of the building, or the use of the building, etc., etc. Everybody has, I am sure my colleagues also have. In one of those criteria, there is one criteria that we don't do any addition, alteration or the renovation, something like it. Because if some architect has done already on some project, we don't like to add on it. And we are very firm on this decision. Just a few months back, one of the client called us and he said, there is a building. It is very close to here in sector 127, Noida only. And there is some existing structure, I would like to go it. Point blank, I refused. No. No problem. After a few days, he again called me. He says, Mr. Goel would like to do the project. I again said no. I was so firm in my decision that no chance to change. Then one of our common friend, he approached him, and that common friend, he called me, Mr. Goel, why you are so adamant about it? Why don't you just reconsider? There were 2-3 calls. Then I thought, ki chalo, let me reconsider it. Again, the client called me, okay sir, I go by your words. You just visit the site and then you decide whether to go for it or not. I said, fine, theek hai. So, of course, in my mind, I was quite confirmed that I am not going to do that project. I started with that kind of mental status from my office. I reached that site, obviously, and let me tell you that structure was around 15 years old. And you can imagine how 15 years old structure will look like. So, ye peeling of plaster, plants on the rooftop, very bad looking shape, etc. was there. And I said, nahi yaar, hum nahi karte. And again I came back from the site, but I told my client, I will let you know. Now this time I didn't say him no. I just said, I let you know. I came back. My son is also working with me. So I told him the whole story. After the curiosity, he asked me, कि पापा क्या हुआ? मैं कहा सेम थिंग यार, नहीं करना हमें काम, कोई चांस ही नहीं है. मैंने कहा फिर भी तुम्हारा क्या डिसीजन है? मैंने कहा यार मेरा मन नहीं कर रहा. तो मतलब फ्रॉम नो आई वाज स्लाइटली सॉफ्टर टू दैट नो. तो मैं कहा तुम भी चल के देखो, तुम्हें मज़ा नहीं आएगा, डोंट स्टार्ट दिस प्रोजेक्ट एट ऑल, विल डू समथिंग फ्रेश. आई ऑलवेज प्रेफर ए क्लीन स्लेट. मुझे पूरा साफ सुथरा काम मिले तो मज़ा आता है. ऐसा हमने करा. देन वी अगेन रिविजिटेड द साइट. यहाँ से थोड़ा सा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन शुरू हुआ. We visited site and he was also with me. He said, सोच तो सकते हैं. The building cosmetic appearance is bad, no doubt, but still the structure, it is in safe condition bit. So you just reconsider. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा और क्या कर सकते हैं? कहते हैं नहीं, धीरे धीरे इसको और पॉजिटिव सोचते हैं. तो he changed my thought process a bit. तो पहले strictly no, then slight no, softer no, and then now the process, the thought process that change. तो हमने सोचा कि हाँ यार ठीक है करते हैं. Because I could feel कि हाँ यार इसमें कुछ ना कुछ होता है. There is a life in this structure. अभी कुछ है इसमें. Then we came back. We again discussed together. Then we thought कि what could be the advantages. Then we started transforming that structure into our final requirements. Client adjustment can be reshaped and can be fitted into this. Structure strength is also good, and it will save a lot of the natural resources also if I don't demolish the building.
Correct.
It is going to save a lot of money also if I don't demolish the building. It will save my timeline also. We will able to complete the project. And here I really felt myself completely transformed, changing my decision from absolute no to almost 40. And let me tell you, that project has come out so well that I thought, yeah, in future we will always reconsider these things. So this is something with how my design approach changed.
Living and learning basically, no matter the age, no matter how much experience you have. Chetan, tell me, have you built something that you can't relate to anymore now? Like you can't believe that you actually made it?
Yeah, this was a project that we did. This was a housing project. So this was to be done for an NRI. So he wanted a net zero energy house. We had never done it earlier. So it was actually something, so I had to go through the what is net zero energy and all these things. So went through all the books, went through our previous designs also, went through our books that we read in college, that how the sun's rays, incidence and all those. So once we went through that, we took up the project, and it was basically, he wanted a passive solar house with a lot of use of natural materials. And in the process, I found myself adapting to what he needed, his values, try to bring those values and his needs on paper. And we were able to achieve it by the use of natural materials. Obviously, when you are making a net zero energy building, you have to consider plantations also, shading. All those things were taken care of. But this project was very unlike what we normally do. It was not my style. But the end product was amazingly good, and we are happy about it.
Right. So Chetan has spoken about clients. We were talking about clients. Have you, Vineet, ever received a client brief that kind of blurred the lines between his story and your story?
I think I would not particularly say that one single client, maybe, but you can't. I mean, if you consider the blurry thing, if I consider, I think it's mostly different aspects of different clients. What I could come on to, because there are a lot of different spaces post COVID, especially that a client has been asking and has aspirations to look forward to, more of openness, more of what you call in-house offices, and so in terms of those, I think there are a lot of spaces which I think I could relate to with the client, which and during these times where the client is lot better educated as compared to the previous times, it's quite hard to even educate the client to get what he wants, to make him understand what's good for him, what's not. So I would rather say, I mean, there has been a couple of times where, in fact, to convince the client, this is what will look good, this is what even for me would look good. So let's just stick to that and let's just go ahead. So there are a lot of many times that this happens.
Sanjeev ji, tell me, has there been a space that has brought you to stillness? It could be when you were young, when you were an adult, or when you got into architecture.
Yes, I can remember one incident. My mother took me a place which I was not expecting. I didn't know anything about it. और हम कहाँ जा रहे हैं वो भी मुझे नहीं पता था. And after the train journey, we reached a space where we reached there, and just with the flowing water we crossed, and then I saw a space with a huge water body, lot of peace, some Gurbani going on, and it really brought me altogether a very different world. It was a golden temple. Imagine, I was thinking that as structure is not something very great, but around the water, the structure, water around it is really giving a very different feeling. I mean, that water, the sky changing patterns, I could see the reflections. I mean, that peace, that scale, that really brought me a stillness. I can never forget the feel of that area.
Chetan, do you have a similar experience, something that brought you to your knees?
No, I would not say that anything brought me to my knees. But yes, there was a project. This was in the hills. This was in Kangra. That brought me to the edge professionally, physically, and mentally. So this was basically a heritage home that they had. Now the family is living in Delhi actually. So they wanted to convert that home, which was almost 100 years old, to a heritage hotel property. So now when I visited the site, so there was a story to it. When I walked through that mansion, it was almost 100 years old, as I told you. So the plaster was peeling. There were huge windows with the stained glass and the light filtering in different colors. And altogether, it had story and it had history to it around. Now the problem was, when we were designing, the brief was very clear. They wanted to retain this mansion as it is, with obviously minor changes as required for a hotel. And they wanted to add something around 75-80 rooms with it. So now when we were planning, as far as the mansion was concerned, obviously we went with few renovations. For maybe we were putting reception and restaurants there. And then we were putting rooms around that mansion so that it gels with the thing. But the problem came when the construction started for this building, which was going to house 70-75 rooms. There was actually a move. There was an earthquake. So because of that, 2 of our columns, they caved in for the new building. So that took along, when they caved in, that took along some part of the old mansion also. So then we have to rethink, because we need to respect nature also, and side narratives have to be seen. So then we had to scale down the project. We sat again, took us another 6 months to scale it down. So now we rethought the project in a way that let's do it as a resort, because the family had the whole hill. So we had we designed huts for them with 4 units each, and we placed them at various levels from wherein they can have beautiful views, and these were connected by a cart road. So now the people who were staying there, they could walk down to the restaurants, they could enjoy the hills. So that is one of the experiences that I would say, I mean, like it did affect us.
Turned out very differently than you had
It was
planned.
very different, but it turned out very well. So rather than making a hotel, now it was a resort. So the whole concept changed.
Vineet, do you have a similar experience?
I think I would rather, I'll switch. I think this is the first, again, one of the sites. I think, I would rather say that this was a project which is structurally was a challenge for us, because we are trying to achieve I think about 100 feet of, about 78 feet of cantilevered space. So it was quite a challenge for us. And during that time, I think learning on the earlier experiences of architects which you study in colleges also. So spending more of a time at site, getting hands-on experience, and achieving that feat with the structural standards and safety was actually quite a tremendous thing. And I still look at it as a feat, and I mean that has brought more confidences also in terms of construction techniques for me as well. So I'd rather say that was a very good experience for me.
Right. You spoke of techniques, but is there some detailing that you do which is driven by emotions and not so much by technical logic?
At times, yes. And most of the times what happens, what we perceive on paper turns out to be a different at an actual site. So at that point in time, when the client and the team comes together and they anticipate a space, I would rather say that, I'll just give an example, that there was this earlier courtyard houses used to be there. So the houses earlier were about single story or 2-story house, where the courtyard was a different meaning altogether. The courtyard was something where you can sit, you can spend time, you have good light, you have rains. It's an outdoor space basically. Now the courtyard into these pictures have now, with the new standards coming up, we have about 6-storied houses. So the courtyard, especially, and having a basement, the meaning of courtyard has completely changed. It doesn't want to be represented as a shaft. It has to be a courtyard. And the client which we anticipated the entire basement was to be an area for a gathering, for a few gatherings, about a couple of people mingling together. And at the same time, the courtyard had to have a feeling of freshness, a feeling of inside, outside coming into the picture. So that's where we decided that we wanted to lit up the basement using this great courtyard which we had. We actually got the details done then and there at site with the client. We had, the idea came out to be was mirror paneled walls, coupled with the fact that the sunlight, with the angles it used to have, once you enter the courtyard, once you enter the basement, the feeling of openness comes out so much that you don't feel that it's a basement. So, and at the same time, you're giving it a very wow factor, which is a must these days in houses. So that courtyard with the mirror paneling and adding to it some natural green elements, so that the reflection of sun and with respect to the greens on the wall, so it gives a completely different look, and it has come out beautifully, and the client loved it, and I was happy again.
Right. Sanjeev ji, tell me, can spaces leave a permanent mark on you? Share some anecdotes as well.
It was in 1979. And at that time only, just after a week, I went to the Pragati Maidan. And there I saw Hall of Nations. There, because I was a student, I was having a geometrical drawing. So I knew what a pyramid means. But I have never seen a building in a pyramid shape, and that too a truncoid pyramid. It was so amazing to see the structure, the geometry that I learnt in a school building. And that too at such a large scale. We know a space has walls and roof and floor. There were walls, but not the walls that we have seen before. There was a roof, but not the roof that we have seen before. That space really left a mark on me. And that time I thought that who is the person who thought about it? Who is the person who designed it? That time I came to know the word architecture. Somebody told me there is an architect who designed it, and which is the college, because the college means only the DU, Delhi campus, and you have lots of students here. Somebody told me there is School of Planning Architecture in Delhi, so you have to get the admission there. Then and there I decided to quit my course and to shift from the pure science to architecture. We did architecture. I completed architecture very successfully. And there was one more change in my life. Then after doing that architecture, completing successfully, we joined a private job. And then just after 1 year, I was selected into DDA also as assistant architect. And myself, my parents and my in-laws, they were quite happy. कि अब तो बेटे की जिंदगी set है. But within 1 week, I saw कि here I can't do the things that I'm looking for. I quitted that job.
Okay.
I came home. I told my wife and my parents. They were crying. They said, "Beta pagal ho gaya." But that was the confidence. And since then, I'm practicing architecture. I mean, that structure really left a mark on my my life, and that has changed everything about me. And still, I'm doing it.
That's a very inspiring story.
I really, really.
Chetan ji, have you ever designed something that changed the way people look at you? Like their perspective of you changed?
Yeah, there is one project. This was a center that we did for a low-income neighborhood. The client was an NGO who took care of underprivileged children and elderly people. So the brief was they wanted a space wherein the people can come and interact. Along with that, they wanted a hostel for elderly people who have been abandoned or who don't want to stay with the family, plus a few rooms wherein underprivileged children, they can come and they can be educated there. Now the basic thing was that the elderly people, they can impart whatever they know or the education to these children. So that way the pressure, financial pressure on NGO would also reduce. And at the same time, the children would learn from them and they would spend more time together. So at the end of the thing, the project came out very well. And it was basically a space where the people would come and interact. And it became an excellent space for kids to learn, to play and to grow. So after this project, this was a successful project. And we are doing these kind of many projects. This is the first one that I told you. Now we are doing a couple of them. So after the success of this project, I mean, like I could see that the way the clients perceived me or my colleagues perceived me, that has changed a lot. And that project still, I mean, like, it influences my design philosophy.
I'm sure the respect has also grown manifold.
Definitely, yes.
Vineet, is there a place that you return to? It could be physically or emotionally when you need some grounding.
I think the place even for grounding, or in fact for inspiration as well, I feel that that's my home, and that is the place I think that makes me comfortable, and interacting with my family, my parents, it gives an inspiration. There are certain times where not thinking about the problem and just having a normal discussion about it gives you a solution which you don't anticipate for. So I would rather say my place is my home, and I believe it has inspired me a lot, and I've learned a lot. In fact, being grounded, and I think it's a journey. I mean, this is what you learn throughout your years gradually, and in fact, parenting is also a good part of it. And I believe that that's my place. I mean, for mental peace also, I think I return to my home.
Thank you all so much for letting us discover the spaces that really changed you.
Thank you.
Today we unraveled that architecture is not just about building, but also about becoming. On that note, it's a wrap on this presentation of M-Connect, celebrating architectural excellence and innovation. I'm Ambika Sharma. Thank you so much for watching.
Forbes India presents M-Connect, powered by Marmo Solutions.